Hi, welcome to Peace Talks. My name is Kamisha Pascal, and I'm here with
Kyle Stengel.
And Jacob Trump.
This is our first podcast, and we're going to be discussing multiple topics within college campus. And our first discussion will be, what does success mean to us? By the way, I wrote an article about what success means to us, what success means to me, and yeah. So first things first, to me, I feel like success, it plays a whole role in my life, because given that I grew up in poverty, so I feel like success plays a whole role in my life. So I believe that I have to be great financially. So I do multiple things, given that I have a business and I have multiple businesses, and I play basketball and I go to school. So I feel like that is success. Basically, in simpler terms, owning capital and everything like that.
For sure.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, success to me is just like being just able to be in a place where you feel like I'm content. You know, I'm just like, I have everything, well, not everything figured out, but I'm like, I'm good. You know, I'm in a good place. I'm doing what I want to do. And it's just like, it doesn't like, I don't think success always has to mean, it's like, I'm making bank. I'm making all the money. You know, I'm the most successful person. It's just like, I think successful is just like, I'm just doing well. You know,
Right.
It's like, I have a family and kids, or it's just like, I have a nice apartment. You know, just being in a good place, I think is just like, in personal terms, being successful, I would say.
Right.
I completely agree with what you just said, with like achieving your goals that you set out for yourself and stuff like that, and just like success is just having yourself like be in a good place, whether it's like say like your academic goals or like your finance goals and stuff like that, just making sure that you're content and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like, I mean, for me, the whole aim is self-accusation, basically achieving my fullest potential in what I want to do. That is success for me. But I do agree that in that, I want to be content. Mm-hmm. So everybody has their own definition of how they want to be content. It could be, you know, working at McDonald's. Mm-hmm. It could be, you know, being a, you know, drug dealer. Like, everybody has their own definition of content, like happy or whatever. Like, some people being homeless are content. Like, they like doing that. Some people working a 9 to 5 are content. But that's their definition of success, because that's what they're passionate at.
Yeah.
That's what they like doing.
Completely agree. Just whatever fits you. Whatever works for you, and just all that kind of stuff.
If you want to rob a bank, do whatever you want to do.
Right. Our next question is relationships, romantic, friendships. What is your perspective
on just those like type of things overall, like just kind of relationships?
Yeah, how to keep a healthy relationship.
This is actually interesting, because like it's just keeping contact with people and just being sure that you're there for them, even in just like the smallest things. Like, I remember back in high school, when COVID was going on, I was around like senior year, and during the time, you know, Zoom was a thing and all this stuff, and I was texting my friends like, oh, we should like do a Zoom call with just all our friends. And we did that, and I was like, oh, that was really fun. And we ended up doing that not on like a daily basis, but like every other week or even every other month. We would just get together and just hang out, catch up.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah. And at least we try to stay in touch as much as we can in college. It's a lot harder because we're all kind of doing our own thing, but for the most part, like I was able last weekend, I was able to visit a friend at State. We went out and got boba.
Okay.
That was fun.
What about you, Kyle?
So for me, relationships are basically what he just said as well as like the first question. Just keeping in contact with each other and just being there for each other, pushing each other, just motivating each other, and just treating your relationship like that the person would want to treat you, like doing everything that you would want them to do for you, like being there, taking care of like your family if need to be, and just thriving off each other as well. What about you?
I'm very extroverted. I care about people a lot. How I keep a healthy relationship, friendship, anything of that sort. I like to stay in contact, like you guys said. I like to basically help my friends, no matter the circumstances, I like to help them.
Mm-hmm.
For example, my friends, they needed somewhere to stay. I have an apartment, and I offered them somewhere to stay because, I was in a situation like that.
Yeah.
They didn't help. My friends couldn't help me, but I know how that felt, so I helped. I just passed it on, and I helped them. So, yeah, like just helping other people and communicating and just being a good person. That's healthy. But what about toxic friendships? Yeah.
I don't think I've had too many toxic friendships in my life. I've had not really. I don't know. I haven't had many toxic relationships. I did have a roommate last year, and he was like my freshman year. He was a whole ordeal. But
How
the thing
so?
is, he did some not great stuff. Just some he was just an overall just not.
He wasn't a good guy.
No, not that great of a guy. I don't want to hate on him too much because
Right.
this is a public podcast. But
Right.
I to be watch out for him. He's in the streets. No. He just I don't know. Didn't do stuff that negatively agreed with me,
Right.
and he just I don't know. He's doing his kind of own thing now, but most of the time when there's kind of stuff happening around any toxicity that may happen, I try to avoid it, or at least if it does affect me, I'm just trying to reassure. I'm this is, you gotta figure this stuff out, if you need me to get involved, I'll get involved.
Right.
But if it's going to a point where it's really negatively affecting people, then I'm okay, this needs to stop, So, but yeah, I don't have too much on toxic relationships because I haven't had any personal experience. But if you guys do,
So for me, what I've found about myself, ever since college, kinda, is I'm becoming more of a loner, kinda.
Right.
I just sticking to myself and just not really us talking to my closest friends with my teammates and you
Yeah.
guys and stuff. People that I feel comfortable with.
yeah,
But I don't really going out like I used to and going and partying and all that kind of stuff. 'Cause that's just not really me,
yeah,
So, yeah, I've definitely just found myself as more somebody that just likes to hang out by myself and just with my closest friends, I feel like.
I've definitely become that person. I try to meet new people and be as extroverted as I can, but there's a lot of times where I'm I just want to kind of just be by myself
Right,
today.
exactly.
Just
It's
have my
Yeah.
own
yours
time.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to hate on my friends and stuff. It's no, you're awesome and stuff, but
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
it's just I'm just most of the time when I
Yeah.
want to be just by myself, I just feel I'm not in the best mood to just hang out with people. That's
Right.
not because I don't want to hang out with you. I just don't think I'll really add anything to
Yeah.
the conversation or
Right.
I
anything.
completely agree with that.
Yeah.
I found the same way. Your thoughts that you just said is the thoughts that I've had recently too, where it feels more comfortable and relaxing just doing your own thing, just hanging out by yourself,
Yeah.
And you get a lot of things done too.
Exactly.
I had apologized to one of my friends because I said I'm sorry if I'm not going out because you're going out a lot, and me personally, I do a lot. I have a business, and I do school, and I do other things, and I'm sorry I'm not going a lot. As a business owner, you have to limit that social life. So she said that's fine because you can't really blame
No.
me. But in terms of toxic relationships, I never thought I would ever be in a toxic relationship, but I did have a toxic, romantic relationship, and it was not fun. It was a toxic cycle, and that is not something you would like to have. You mentally don't know you're in it until you step back and reflect and be oh yeah, this is not for me, and I don't like this. Right. So basically, it's a lot of manipulation, a lot of gaslighting, a lot of, putting another person down and basically trying to get the other person to, your way. So I wouldn't wish a toxic, friendship, relationship on anyone, because it's not benefiting no one but themselves.
Agreed.
So healthy relationships is all that a person should need, because you're supporting another person, and you are basically, helping another person. So you're not just benefiting yourself, but you're benefiting another person.
As well.
Yeah.
I completely agree with that as well. Like the toxicity and stuff. It's like, honestly, if you like, how you can get somebody's vibe just by like hanging around them for just like a little bit.
Yeah.
If you don't feel a good vibe, then get out of there. Like,
Yeah.
do not include that guy in your life or grow in your life.
And don't try to let them like manipulate you
Exactly.
as well.
Because you don't want somebody else to bring down your vibe and your energy.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
some people making you feel like their action is like, oh, it was your fault. Yeah, you made me do that.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Because then it just makes you feel worse about yourself
Yeah.
and like makes you lose confidence and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
then-
definitely. Like those type of toxic relationships, it makes you lose yourself, because you start to basically live in the person. They make you feel like you need them, but you really don't.
No.
Especially if
Yeah.
you're already an independent person, they make you feel like you need them, and you have to, when you finally, branch off from the person, you have to find yourself again. And
That can be exhausting too.
yeah, it's exhausting, and it's hard to do because your whole mental state is messed up, and you have to learn who you are all over again.
yeah.
I feel like
Definitely.
social media does a big part in that too, kind
Yeah.
of like connecting and everything. Because like for me personally, social media kind of brings me like social anxiety and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like seeing like, oh, look at what this guy's doing, or shoot, I wish I was doing that, like stuff like that. I don't know about you guys, but yes, like social media has its positives, but it can also bring a lot of toxicity too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start to think like, oh, this person made this much money. How come I'm not making this money and I'm doing this? But
Yeah.
everybody, it has their time,
Right.
This person has this much muscle. How come I don't have this much muscle?
Yeah, and it makes you like wonder if like, for example, I'm a runner, so like I'm looking at like other kids my age and stuff, and I'm like competing against. I'm like, dang, they're faster than me. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? So like makes me like compare myself to them, which is not good when you compare yourself to other people.
Yeah, and that's not good, because I mean, when there was no social media, there was people faster than you and you didn't know it.
Exactly.
So if there was no social media, it would just be the same thing.
Right. Then you just have your confidence in yourself and not even know about the other person. It would just
Exactly.
relieve so much stress too.
The whole problem with social media, you're just up on your phone watching other people.
Yeah. And then feeling bad about yourself because I'm like, oh, can do as like the same stuff as this person.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's creepy behavior. Like, you're watching other people and like, that's crazy. I mean, some of it should be motivation,
Yeah.
and then the rest of it is like, oh, I'm better than you, so you can't be like me. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Another question is zodiac signs and personality. A lot of people are comparing zodiac signs to their personalities.
So I had my first experience of this summer. Somebody was like, oh, you're a Leo. I don't usually get along with Leos. I was like, okay. So it was like my first experience. So I went on my phone and I Googled a Leo, and it was like person that likes to stand out and like just like show off. And I was like, well, that's not really me. So I don't think we're having any issues there. And she was like, well, we'll see. I was like, that was really my first time, like really like
Yeah.
getting in that kind of conversation.
I've never really had that much experience with like the zodiac signs and stuff. At least experience where I'm like, I've known people who like they judge people based off that kind of stuff. I've heard about it and seen it on like media, but I've never had to deal with it. But personally, I don't think it's like clearly the best way to just judge someone because like, I mean, yeah, if the sign, like if that's their sign, good and all, but they're still like, everybody's different. Everybody has different motivations, personality, interest. So if you just see that sign, it's like, oh, I can't hang out with them, then you're
Not seeing the person.
you're
for who
possibly
they are.
you're possibly
Yeah.
losing like a best friend because you judged him by a simple sign.
Exactly.
It's like don't judge a book. Sort of
By
like
its
don't judge a
cover.
book by its cover, pretty much.
I excuse me. I honestly think it's weird because everybody could be the same sign. Like we could all be Virgos. I'm a Virgo. We could all be Virgos, but we don't act the same.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I just think like for someone to go off of the sign, oh, like you're a Sag, you're a Cancer. I always say cancers cause cancer. They're all weird. But I'm like, but I'm just like, it's just a little joke of hive mind. But I'm just like, I don't understand like why they would say, oh, okay, you're this, you're that, I can't be friends, or you're rude, or you're untrustworthy. I mean, I just think it's just, you know, something that they had in the past, so they hold it against everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, I mean, not something, it's not good.
It's not fair,
it's
really.
not, no. Do we know when it like started? Like the zodiac signs, like people just judging. Was this something that started this year, or has it been going on? Because I haven't been really hearing about it until like around this
Yeah,
year.
I'm about to say I started hearing about it more this year, like I was telling you guys earlier. But I feel like it's been around for.
It's probably been around for a long time.
Yeah.
It's just been trending now.
Yeah.
It's been around for a while because I know when I was in high school, everyone was like, "Oh, well, you're this, so I can't date you," or they would compare signs. They're like, "Oh, okay, we're compatible," or like I don't know.
I have a question. Do you guys think it's more guys that say that kind of stuff, or do you guys think it's more girls that say that kind of stuff?
Girls are ridiculous. Yeah, they do that, but me personally, I don't do that because I go based off of personality. If we have compatible personalities, we're good.
Right.
Yeah.
If we don't, we don't.
Yeah.
We could be friends. But I mean, the zodiac signs is crazy. I don't care.
I don't. It's hard because like I feel like there's no right or wrong answer to this. I feel like I have like, in terms of like people who joke about it and stuff, relate to it more to girls than guys, and I'm not really sure why, because I feel like anybody would do this. Maybe it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I guess most people see it more like girls do it than guys, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it doesn't really matter
I would say
who
TikTok.
does it.
TikTok has a
Yeah.
big influence on everybody now, like talking about zodiac signs and everything.
Yeah.
Yeah. The different influencers and all that kind of fun
Yeah,
stuff.
I don't know. I mean, whatever you hear it from, it's just like, believe what you want, but in my opinion, I just don't think it's just like you should just judge someone completely. If you want to be like, ooh, I don't know about them, talk to them, get to know
Right.
them,
Yeah.
you know, ask them. It's like if you're into the same stuff they are, you know, in
Right.
terms of your interest or your hobbies, don't
Don't just
judge
push them
them.
off.
Yeah, don't
Right.
just judge them because you could possibly be losing a best friend.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Our last question is to transition from adolescence to adulthood. Like, how do you think it feels? Do you think there's a shift change mentally, physically, emotionally?
When is adolescent? Like, is that just like teenage? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I'm considered technically more of a young adult now. Like, I'm 19, and I still feel like a kid. Like, I still feel like I'm kind of
It's good, man.
teenager.
Stay young, right?
Yeah, right.
I'm still like 6 years old in my mind. I don't feel like that old. I'm starting to feel a lot more of the responsibilities coming up, like finding a job, figuring out your career. I'm definitely feeling it, and it's like starting to transition in, but I don't know. It's just like I feel like you still kind of are able to keep that like younger child, or just like kind of younger child innocence or wonder throughout. Like, it depends on like kind of how your life is. Sometimes it's just like when you become an adult, you're like, oh, the world is like awful and it's harsh and a kid, you're like, oh, the world's amazing. Like, there's so many positive. It kind of depends on like how you grow up. And personally, I thought I had a pretty decent childhood. And I think it's just like I haven't really changed in terms of my interests and my hobbies. They've still kind of stuck with me. So like I have changed a little bit in like seeing the world, but I still kind of have that childhood creativity still with me. And yeah, I don't know. It's weird. It's like you change, but you don't fully change sometimes.
See, I agree. Like, I was one of those kids where my parents would do everything for me.
Mm-hmm.
So now, for the past couple of years, like ever since high school, and now since I'm since now I'm a freshman in college, like feeling all the responsibilities and stuff that came to me, like I'm still adjusting to like waking up on my own, making sure that I'm at like track meetings and classes and all that kind of stuff. But I try to still go out and like hang out with my friends and stuff and like still do fun stuff so that the child in me can still come out and have fun while the adult in me goes and like does like their responsibilities and stuff like that.
I think for a lot of your life, at least however you grow up, it's like most people grow up with their parents. Depends on like how their parents are. They're just used to being with their parents a lot of the time. And their parents like, oh, you got to do this and stuff. And like, I mean, not all parents. I mean, parents, like most parents try, at least I think they would, try to like be with their kid and make sure it's like, are you doing this? Do you have everything ready? And then when you kind of leave and you're doing stuff on your own, that's when it starts to change. It's like, oh, I'm kind of doing everything now on my own time.
Reality check.
Yeah, it's like now I don't really have someone to like kind of check up on me, or it's like, hey, dinner's ready. It's like I kind of make my own dinner. It's just like, starting to just transition out of family life and, being on your own and possibly starting a new family.
Right. I totally agree. I feel like college is actually a great head starter in terms of like meeting new people and building your own life.
Yeah.
When you go away, it's a great shift when you build your own life. I mean, I'm born in New York. I moved around a lot, but I live in Florida. So I didn't live with my mother that often, but I did go back home after my freshman year, and after that it was up and it's stuck. So so after that, like I stayed over the summer at my old school during the summertime, and then I have an apartment. Yeah. So I have not gone home since. And I mean, I have my car, I pay bills and everything like that. So I could totally agree that like, that shift from adolescence to adulthood is like
it's there.
It's there when you leave to go away to school.
Yeah.
And it's there, and then after your first year into school, it starts to kick in. Yeah. Because they're just like, okay, you're an adult now. I think you could take care of yourself. Right. Yeah. Now they start, depending on the parent, they start to add all this adult work load. Yeah. And then life gets a little bit frustrating because you're like, okay, how do I do this? Yeah. All right. So,
before you know it, you're off your parents' like phone bill. And
all like it's crazy. I mean, I totally agree with you, Kyle, talking about like you're trying to balance the kid and the adult. Because some of my friends do call me, but me and my friend did having a discussion. We were like, I said, friend, I know that I know you haven't heard from me in a while. I'm so sorry. She said, I totally understand. We're not in high school anymore. So it's okay if you don't call me. Yeah. We're still cool. Right. Because, as an adult, you're busy. We work jobs. Yeah. And we have a whole different life. And probably in the next 2-3 years, we're going to have kids. Yeah. So it's totally understandable. But the love is still there, you know?
For sure.
Yeah. No, definitely.
You still got to exercise a child in you.
Yeah, like, it's like, when you have your friends, they're still your friends. It's that, like, they're busy.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
where everyone starts to figure out what they want to do and they start committing to that. And then it's just like, oh, I want to hang out, but, I got to do this thing for like my job or for my class,
Yeah.
And yeah.
I'm about to say, too, like you just said, planning with your friends now compared to like before is so much more complicated now.
Yeah.
Because everybody has something going on at like one time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, it's not like, oh, okay, let me ask my mom, I'm gonna go. It's okay, I gotta take off from work.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I will let you know.
Right.
So it's just totally understandable. Like, I don't feel like an adult. I still feel like I'm 17 or something. Like, yes, the adult responsibilities is kicking in, but for a second, me and my friend have this whole, I think we reminisce, and we just be like, wow, we're actually like 20,
Right.
2021. And I'm just like, that's crazy. We were literally just in high school like 2-3 years ago, and we're paying bills now
Yeah.
in college.
It's wild.
It feels like so long ago sometimes.
Yeah.
Like I remember like graduation was last year from my high school, and like over the summer I was like hanging out with friends and stuff, and that was only like a year ago, but it feels like 5 years ago. It feels like so long now because like we've been doing so much stuff, and I'm like, that was only like a year ago. Like, it's weird.
See, I graduated from high school in June. Like the last time I saw my friends, like my closest friends, were like 2 months ago, I want to say. But it does not feel like 2 months. It feels like half a year now.
Yeah.
Like just because like all the stuff that I've been going on and like track and all the responsibilities,
Yeah.
school, and it does not feel like that 2 months ago, to be honest.
It better be a year too.
I know.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
We could just say that, I mean, the big takeaway from adolescence to adulthood is we grow mentally. Like we become self-aware. I mean, I guess we become self-aware, and we just grow every day. I think in order to grow, mentally, emotionally, we have to fail and experience some type of hurt. So that's the biggest thing. Like, in order to be an adult, a mature adult, we have to experience some type of hurt in our life. So, I do agree. Like, I feel like I'm not the same compared to how I was when I first came into college.
Yeah, right.
I'm a woman.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like, I've only in my second month of school, and I feel like I've already became like so much more independent.
Yeah. That's
Like,
good.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Just the process of growing up.
Oh, our next question is the housing market. The housing prices around the whole United States is ridiculous. So, do you think, would you rather buy a house or rent a house?
That's
So
fine.
right now, I feel like I would rent a house because I'm so young. So I don't want to like get a house and make that big investment quite yet. So like I feel like I would rent for a little bit, and then when I would start like getting serious with the girl and start thinking about having kids and stuff, and I feel like that would be the time to start thinking about buying a house.
Yeah, same. I don't know. I would probably start by renting a house because that's what my parents did. They rented a house first, and we didn't like buy our first house until I was like 3. Like I think we rented houses for like the first few years. Like we rented houses for like 1 year, and then we went to another house for a year, and then we finally bought our house. So I think it would be like, if there are rentable houses, it would be a lot easier to just rent rather than buy at first.
I mean, they are rentable houses, but you would rent even if they're like the rent costs, the monthly rent is like expensive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Agreed.
No, I mean, the housing market is ridiculous.
Yeah.
For a house in Raleigh is, I don't know, 300,000.
So it seems like there's a lot of people coming in, so we're probably going to have to wrap up here.
Oh, okay.
But
All right. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Kamisha. I was your host, and this is
Kyle Stengel.
and Jacob Trump, and thank you for listening to the podcast, guys.
Thank you guys.
We'll see you next time.